Hello my beautiful friends. Today I am overly excited because we are going to be testing out a collaboration between one of my good friends Paulina here on YouTube and Blush Tribe. So let's go ahead and jump right on in. So, as you guys might know, Paulina is one of my friends here on YouTube. She has the makeup channel Paulina Beauty. She is absolutely phenomenal at makeup, so if you're not following her, what are you doing? Go over there, follow her, tell her that I say hello, because I love Paulina so much. She's amazing with color, she's amazing with makeup application, and she came out with her own palette with Blush Tribe, and this is what she looks like on the inside here. She retails for $28 if you're in the US, and if you're in Britain, this is only $21, so not too shabby. Now obviously you do get 9 eyeshadows in here, but this is unlike any palette I've ever seen. You basically get 3 different color groups. You get purples, pinks, and greens, and this is right up Paulina's alley. She's really good at putting these types of colors together, so I was not surprised when I saw the inside of this palette. I think it is absolutely phenomenal. She did a great job, and we are going to be testing this out on my eyes today. But before we get into the demo and how this applied and how this eye look came to be, I went ahead and swatched each of the colors in the palette on my arm on unprimed skin. I swatched each eyeshadow 2 separate times over each other just to show the true pigmentation and the true color of the shadow. So from left to right, we have Friends, Sieg, Soli, Humble, Thingaling, Angel, Salma, Paulina, and Aubergine. And some of those swatches I didn't even need to build up twice. They were just straight one swipe application and full pigmentation, but I went ahead and did it anyway just in case, just to show that true color payoff. But if you want to see me test out this palette and you want to see how I got this eye look, go ahead and keep on watching. Look who came in the mail. I am seriously just so ecstatic to be trying this palette out today, because if you recognize the beautiful lady on the cover, this is my good friend Paulina here from YouTube. She has her own palette with Blush Tribe, and I have been awaiting this very patiently for the past couple months. I pre-ordered it in December. I finally got it yesterday, and we are going to be testing out this bad boy today. I cannot wait to try these colors on my eyes. As you can see here on the inside of the palette, we have another beautiful little cartoon version of Paulina. I am so incredibly proud of her because she is absolutely phenomenal with makeup. She has the most amazing makeup skills. She pairs together colorful looks so freaking well, and they are so uniquely paired together, but she manages to bring together colors that you would not think would work together. She manages to bring them together and make them look beautiful, and that's exactly what she's done here in this palette. I can't freaking wait to try this on my eyes. It is so beautiful, so let's go ahead and jump in. So I definitely want to utilize as much as I can from the palette today, but I'm not 100% sure about which look I want to do. I mean, I have so many color choices here that I don't know, I'm kind of shook by this, but let's go ahead and prime the eyes here real quick with the P. Louise base in the shade Zero Rumor, which of course is the pure white base. I'm just gonna pop this right on the eyeballs. Just a nice little thin layer. So I'm just gonna hop in today by starting out with the most beautiful shade in this palette in my opinion, which is the shade Angel. This is like right up my alley. I mean, this is the most perfect hot pink I think I've ever seen. It is completely matte, and I'm just gonna be picking that up on a little flat synthetic brush here from Wet n Wild. And I'm just gonna start patting this down and basically shaping out where I want the eyeshadow. And this is a really beautiful hot pink. It's a little bit, I don't know, more sheer than I expected, but I think it looks really beautiful being this sheer, because as you can see right now, it kind of looks like a light bubblegummy baby pink. Then if I build it up, I'm sure I can get it to that really nice hot pink opacity that we see in the pan. And now I'm just going to take the same exact brush and I'm going to hop in with the shade Paulina down here, which is a little bit of a deeper hot pink, and this one has a tiny bit of micro shimmer it looks like. Or maybe that's just for me swatching these and getting glitter into the matte pan. I don't know, but I am just going to basically go over where I placed down Angel and just kind of intensify it a little bit. I do love that she put 2 different tones of hot pink in here. As we can see, Angel is a little bit lighter and a little bit more sheer, so you could just do like a 2-toned pink eyeshadow look with those 2 shades and then pop the beautiful purple on the lid. It would be the cutest, most angelic pink look in the entire world, but I love that she did that. I love different tones of pink, and when you have 2 different types of eyeshadows that are basically the same color, just 2 different tones, you can create a really easy but still dimensional, colorful look. And Paulina is pigmented as all hell, so I see what she was doing here. Angel is a little bit more sheer, a little bit more of a blending shade, and Paulina is your deepening, super hot, in your face pink. Oh man, I did not bring my color switch over here. And I don't have a clean sock lying around like I did last time, so looks like we're on our own here, boys. And that is extremely bright and intense and pigmented. I barely had to put any pressure on my brush to be able to get this type of pigment down. I really didn't have to dip back into the pan that many times, so yeah, she's pigmented. And I'm just taking my Sephora Pro Crease brush, the little tiny itty bitty blender brush here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and run over the edges and just kind of blend out Angel, which was the first shade that we laid down. I don't want to apply more just because I think that it'll apply a little bit too much pink and probably get up into my brow bone. So I'm just gonna take the plain brush that has nothing on it and just start to blend this out. This is definitely not your one and done type of palette, so if you're the kind of person who likes a one and done type of palette, you might have to bring in a few extra shades in here, like a blending shade and maybe even a deepening shade depending on what kind of look you're doing. But I love that she did this. We have so many blending shades in our collection that we don't need palettes with those in them. I mean, if you're buying a palette from Blush Tribe, chances are you probably have blending shades and matte transition shades and whatnot. So I love that she just stuck to basically 3 different color groups that all work really well together, but that are all pretty unique and different in their own way. You can get green looks with this palette, you can get pink looks, you can get purple looks, you can mix and match. Paulina has done some really beautiful looks on her channel where she basically uses pink, purple, and green and somehow makes it work cohesively together. That is a skill that she has that I personally don't have nearly as well. So she's really good at those types of things, and this palette just reflects her so perfectly. Grabbing the Makeup Addiction Precise Blender Brush, this little itty bitty teeny blender brush, I'm gonna hop into Aubergine, this beautiful plummy eggplant colored purple. If you didn't already know this, aubergine means eggplant in French, I believe. I probably shouldn't have said that without fact checking myself first, but I know that it means eggplant in some language. I think it's French. Tapping off my brush because I don't want fallout here, I'm just gonna start to basically swirl this in the outer V. And I decided to switch brushes. I'm just taking this Morphe B80? Taking this Morphe B80 brush, and I'm just gonna hop into Aubergine again, and I don't know, I just want this to be a little bit more pigmented and I want to cover a little bit more surface area than the other brush would have been able to. When I was swatching these yesterday, I was pleasantly surprised by my swatch of Aubergine. Someone's gonna get on me for that. But I was pleasantly surprised by the swatch because usually with these plummy purples, they can be really patchy, and then once you work them on the eyes, they take a little bit of finessing, but you know, we can get there. But this particular shade swatched almost perfectly. There was a little bit of streaking kind of here and there, and it was a slightly patchy towards the end of my swatch, but for the most part, it was pretty smooth, and it was basically one coat pigmentation, so I don't know. I was kind of shook by it. Keep saying shook today. I don't even like that word. I don't know what the hell's wrong with me. Like when you say a word so many times jokingly that you end up actually using the term in real life, and you basically end up using it seriously. And with my Makeup Addiction Precise Blender brush here, I just picked up a little bit of Angel and I'm just running over the edges just to blend everything out. Just circular motions just to get rid of that harsh edge. Make everything look a little bit more, I don't know, put together. Cohesive. Okay, so we are blended. I'm not sure if we're as blended as we should be, but nonetheless, I want to move on to the next step. So let's go ahead and check the fallout cam here and see if there's any fallout going on with this eye look. I'm not really seeing any fallout, like, at all. Even when I used the Aubergine shade, I did not get any fallout, it looks like. So that is absolutely spectacular because I was a little bit worried, I have to be honest here. So now we are going to go ahead and cut the crease, and I'm just using my ColourPop No Filter Concealer in the shade 00, which is the white concealer. I guess I could use the P. Louise base, but that stuff's pretty expensive to get over to me in the States. So I try to like conserve it as much as I can because I'm a cheap ass. So I don't know. I still have this ColourPop concealer and it works pretty okay for cutting the crease, so I'm just going to use it until it runs out, and then I'll move over to the P. Louise base. Did you guys see those giant P. Louise bases that are legitimately like the size of the model's head that they announced that they're going to be coming out with? I can't even imagine how expensive those are going to be, and how long does it take you to run through one of those, because that thing is literally the size of the girl's freaking head. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and cut this crease here. Give myself like a mini heart attack every time I do this on camera. But let's finish the other eye. Does anyone else say a little prayer before they cut their crease? Because I did not before cutting my crease this time, and good lord, was it a hot mess or what? But I evened them out as much as I could, and although they're more like cousins and sisters today, It's okay, sometimes mistakes happen and we gotta just deal with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick up my Makeup Geek foiled eyeshadow brush, and I don't even think I'm going into a foiled eyeshadow here, or should I? I'm so on the fence about what color to use. I think I'm gonna go ahead and hop into Friends, I think. I'm not feeling very confident about this because I'm not very good at, I don't know, meshing purple and pink and green together, but we're gonna go ahead and just do it just for the sake of science today. And let's go ahead and pop this just right on this outer, I don't know, outer third, I suppose? It's not really the outer third, it's like 2/3 the way in. I'm going for a very Paulina-esque look today because this is the Paulina palette. It would be a disgrace to her to not go for something that I feel like she would go for. Now we're going to be picking up some of Suli here, which is this beautiful metallic foresty green, and I'm just going to mesh that with the outer V where I placed it on the purple earlier because I feel like just the straight neon green into the aubergine purple is a little off-putting for me. So I'm just gonna try to mesh it together with a different type of green that's a little bit deeper. All right, not so bad, not so bad. And I want some purple on the rest of the lid just to kind of tie everything in together. So I'm just gonna pick up Thingling here with my finger, and let's see if we can just apply that to the inner third. Just like so. And I do have another product that I'm going to use here in just a moment that is not related to Blush Try, but I figured I would go ahead and test it out in this video. And if we need to lighten this up a little bit, that will be just the product to do so. I'm really digging this. It's kind of like Barney chic, if you will, but I like it. Definitely not what I would typically go for, I'll say that, but I'm not disappointed with this, and everything has been super pigmented and fairly easy to use for the most part. So I'm enjoying this actually quite a lot more than I thought I was going to. So I was really excited when Huda Beauty said that she was coming out with these metal matte liquid shadows. One side is basically a matte shadow and the other side is a liquid that's like a little bit more shimmery and a little bit more duochromy, but these are both liquid shadows. And I went ahead and picked up Silk Bomber and Bubblegum, and these are basically two different tones of purple. The matte side is more of like a mid-tone mauvey plum, and the beautiful duochrome side is this gorgeous like pink lilac purpley iridescent. So I thought this would be perfect to bring into this look and to just outline where I cut the crease and just to brighten everything up a little bit. Honestly, I feel like the applicator is kind of trash. It's super big, and for what I wanted to use this for, it's definitely too big. I should have just grabbed my little itty bitty liner brush. This is pretty chunky and heavy, but I feel like with products like this, you kind of allude to using it as liner, especially if it's packaged like that and has a tip like that on it. So I don't know why she wouldn't have just given everyone a really small tip, but that's okay. That's okay. It is not that big of a deal. I can get my own brush, but I don't know. I'm kind of regretting that. Nothing we can do about it now. But picking up my Morphe M578 brush, I'm just going to run Angel underneath the lower lash line. I'm just going to stop about a little bit more than halfway in. And taking the tiniest dot of aubergine, I'm just going to focus that on the outer third. Alright, so I am done experimenting with the Paulina palette. I'm going to go ahead and hop off camera here, pop on some liner, pop on some lashes, and then let's go ahead and meet right back here in just a moment and we will discuss how I am feeling about this guy. Alright, we are back with lashes. I went ahead and smudged a little bit of aubergine on the lash line on the upper just because I wanted to tie everything together, but I didn't want a harsh black winged eyeliner, so I basically just kind of smoked it out a little bit, did a little smoky liner action. And what I really like about aubergine is that I didn't really have to go over the line that I placed down on the lash line for liner. I basically just did one application of liner and didn't have to keep building it up like I do with most eyeshadows that I use when I'm using them as liner. They're eyeshadows, they're not eyeliners. They're not meant to be super pigmented, super dark, you know, one swipe application, but I really didn't have to go back into aubergine and basically touch up any spots that were a little bit lighter. It was pretty even throughout the entire application of me doing it. Now, do I think this is my best look? No, I do not. I kind of think I look like Barney right now, but glam Barney, so it could be worse, but I just think that it comes down to makeup skill. I'm not really used to pairing these colors together. If I would have stuck with just the purples and the pinks, I think I could have done something totally bomb, but because I threw that green in there, the matte green on the lid, I kind of just like threw a wrench in my situation for myself because I'm just not really used to using mattes all over the lid, and I'm not really used to using bright neon green mattes. So the reason why I'm not totally digging this look is mainly just because of that green. I wish that I would have just stuck to pinks, but I wanted to test out all of the shades in the palette, or as much as I could. And I like this look, don't get me wrong, I'm not crazy about it. I don't think it necessarily looks super flattering on me. Now, Paulina has done some looks on her channel where she's doing a very similar color scheme and even a similar eyeshadow application, and she freaking kills it. She knocks it out of the park with these types of shadows. I'm more of like a monotone. Pretty sure that's an insult. Pretty sure that means that you're like totally boring and you speak just completely flat noted. I'm more of a monochromatic eyeshadow kind of gal. If I'm going for a pink look, I basically just stick to pinks for the entire look. Or if I'm going for a purple look, I stick to purples. And that's just what I like on myself. I don't know why I like that, but that's just what I like for me. So this is throwing me off just a little bit, having that green in there, but I do like the way that these performed. They were all pigmented, they were all blendable. I didn't have to work too hard with any of these shadows. I think that the two metallics that I used were really punchy and strong, and I like metallics that are not subtle. I like very strong and punchy metallics, so these are right up my alley, and they both have a little bit of a sparkly kind of glimmer to them, which I personally love. I think for $28, this is a steal. I mean, these are quality eyeshadows, and I didn't really expect anything less from Blush Tribe because I've used some of their shadows before. I have their Just Blend It quad, and that's one of my favorite palettes that I have in my entire collection. But I have heard that some of their palettes are hit and miss. I've only tried the Just Blend It quad and now the Paulina palette, so I haven't had too much experience with Blush Tribe. So I know that some people aren't the biggest fan of the Hasina 2, and I know that some people have had some issues with some of their more cool toned colors. But as far as this guy goes, I think it performs really, really nicely, especially the pinks and purples. Like, these just knock it out of the water for me. I think this palette is worth it just for this little corner right here, and I'm gonna get a whole lot of use out of this little corner right here. The greens are also really nice. I think that for being a matte lime green, Friends was really nice when I put it on the lid. It did get a little bit more sheer once I started to kind of blend my brush back and forth and apply more on top of it and basically move the product around. So I think with Friends in particular, and maybe even some of the greens that I didn't use, you might want to try packing your brush onto the actual shadow and picking up a lot of it and then just packing it straight onto your eye instead of trying to blend things around too much unless you want a sheer application. But I do really appreciate that these shadows are buildable, but they are super, super smooth, and they don't take a lot of building up to get to that true final pigmentation and true color. I do, however, like that you can sheer these out a little bit, and I like that some of them are a bit more sheer than others because, as I said earlier, you're really not getting any transition shades in here, which is a-okay with me, but for some people who might be intimidated by this because a lot of these tones are dark, you can sheer these out and use them as transition shades, which is basically what I did with Angel. I could have built it up to be a little bit brighter, but I wanted it to be more of a transition shade, so it worked out well for me in that way. And it was still extremely blendable and did not get patchy at all, even though it was a little bit more sheer. I didn't find that any of these were patchy, especially Aubergine, that dark plummy eggplant purple. That was not patchy even in the slightest. I'm like completely stunned by that shade. It is one of the best purples that I have in my collection, hands down. So I have to say I am pleasantly surprised with this palette, although I didn't expect any less than the quality that's here because Paulina would not sign her name onto anything that wasn't up to par. And I think that this palette performed really, really well, if not better than my expectations. So I am extremely happy that I have this. I'm gonna get so much use out of those beautiful pinks, and if I ever need a matte purple, a matte plummy purple, Aubergine is my new go-to. She is pigmented, she is smooth, she is not patchy, she did not come to play. But I am so proud of Paulina for getting this collab and for creating an amazing color scheme that really hasn't been seen much here in the beauty industry, which is so hard to do nowadays. With everyone releasing things, it is so hard to get a unique concept and bring it to the makeup industry, and Paulina managed to do that, and I honestly don't expect any less for her because she is so creative and so good with pairing together colors. So please do send Paulina some love, and if you have been wanting this palette or eyeballing it, I say go for it. I think the price point is great, I think the quality is great, and you're supporting an absolutely amazing woman. If you've been eyeballing it, I say go ahead and go for it. There's really nothing you can lose except gaining some really awesome eyeshadows. But with that being said, that is going to be wrapping up this video. I do hope that you consider subscribing if you have not already, and if you enjoyed the video and you found it helpful, go ahead and give me a big old thumbs up and ring the notification bell to know when I'm posting. But I hope that you are having an absolutely amazing and beautiful day wherever you are, and thank you so much for stopping by and spending your time here today. I hope to see you next time. Bye!